Hello, everybody. My name is Ulfgarður, and welcome back to Yvardsaga. Tonight, I am really excited for a few reasons. Just for where we left off and where we're picking up tonight, is a point I've been very interested to see for a long time how this was going to go. So I'm really stoked, and we'll get to the recap just shortly. But the other exciting announcement I wanted to make isn't about D&D, isn't about the game, except for my segue into the announcement. It's not about the stream. This is just a me thing. This is a me and not just a me thing. Certainly not just a me thing. But this is a personal announcement. Um, but we were a bit late to the stream starting this evening because if you've ever heard of, I've heard a couple terms or not having a term, but like that rule where if you have a cat and the cat lays on you, you're just locked down. You cannot you just it doesn't matter if you had to go up and pee, you're gonna hold it because that cat has you locked down. Hello, Carl. Welcome to the party. You're just in time for announcements. And oh boy, I got a fun one. Um, but so we were a little late to the stream because Pez got locked down by one of the cats. And right as she was getting up to go to her station, and I needed to catch up on making sure some things for the stream were ready anyway, because I was busy during the day today and didn't get to do it. But it was particularly fun the way Pez was locked down by the cat because uh, Pet were the two cats that we adopted and brought in from being feral outside. Mama Zoe, who we got a clip of a while back, very briefly. Um, she has started getting cuddly on the sofa with us to the point where she settles in and is like really ready for some snuggle and just constant pets. And she's just the sweetest little heart that ever did beat. And she has come up and started cuddling with Pez every evening for a little while because we're pretty sure that she has realized that Pez is pregnant. And that's our announcement. That's my segue into that announcement. It hasn't been on stream, it hasn't been on Discord so far as I know. Um, but yeah, Pez and I, after a very long and rough, just personal journey, this week we start the third trimester of pregnancy. So, and it's our first baby, so we're real excited. So a fair amount of our kind of last minute postponing or just canceling a session over really just since we started playing this campaign. A fair amount of that has been because Pez or I have just been too tired from life in general and dealing with uh, getting to this point that at the last minute we were just like, I can't do this tonight. So I apologize, but now that's a fair reason why. Um, yeah, I'm gonna let the cat raise the kid. She's already proved she can do it once. It's true. That is very true. She has proved it. But yeah, no, it's we're real excited. We're real nervous. Uh I've been working my butt off the last couple weeks trying to get our house ready since we are in the third trimester starting tomorrow, and we are due in a surprisingly short time. Uh so yeah. So I don't know what sort of long-term break we will need for when baby comes, but I I promise you we will be taking a bit of a break, but not longer than we feel like we need to because we both love this game and like getting to interact with you guys. So we'll just have to take some time to find our new groove, but we'll get there and we'll be back. So don't you worry too much about that. Um, yeah, that's our big announcement. Our fun news is yeah, we're gonna have a baby in like a few months. So woohoo! It's been it's been good. It's been fun. We've had a lot of support and everything, and I've been excited to be able to tell you guys. But for reasons we waited telling pretty much anybody in our lives for a while. Um, but now you know. So now we can now we can start making any references, and I don't have to worry about letting it slip accidentally while we're playing D&D. Haha. August baby, we soul bonded already. Oh, that's right, Carl. I forgot your birthday's in August. Have it on the 19th. Mine is a 19th birthday, but it's not in August, so shucks. That's okay. Uh, yeah, it's gonna be good. We're excited. Hi, Emma. You are really brave tonight. You never come that close to me, especially if your mama's not here. Sorry, the kitten is getting bold. Um, yeah, that's my sister's birthday. It'd be weird. Also, the baby's slotted to arrive within 2 days of my birthday. Yes, and on my mother's side, there's a very strong tradition, like it's totally a choice, of having birthday babies. So it's entirely possible Pez and our baby might be birthday buddies. Um, so yeah, Carl, your birthday is the meld, like the mix of mine and Pez's combined. Right, you got Pez's month, but my day of the month. So well done. That's why we get along, I'm sure. No other reason. But you guys didn't tune in for that. You tuned in to see how things continue. So let's continue with it, yeah? I'll do the recap with the players, so I'm not repeating myself again. Pez is very confident that August babies are best babies. I am an October baby, so part of me says no, but also Pez is like the coolest and best person I know. So evidence also points to yes. So like it's all good. But let's get back to our game. Alrighty, let's see. Sound seems to be working for me as far as I could tell. It was working for everybody else after I tuned in, or I switched stream over last week and it wasn't working. So let's see.
Like, you know what? English is no longer your first language. And I'm like, well, what language is? And it's like, oh, not
Uh,
English.
uh,
Yeah.
I need a food shovel. Do you have any of those?
Yeah.
Need a spoon? Yes.
That one. English is overrated. It has
Yeah,
some cool
I was just,
features, but it's overrated.
I
Me
was just
fail
telling them that
English? Impossible.
impossible. I was telling them that I told one of my coworkers yesterday that my car was at the vet, and that's why I didn't have my regular car. Because apparently my brain refuses to acknowledge that English is the first and only language I know, and it's like, nah, treat it like a second language.
Fantastic. That is a I enjoy those little brain blips and seeing what words and terms it comes up with when it can't find the right
Oh,
ones.
don't worry, you'll get it lots more, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure, and I'm sure my own will kick up too. Mine's already been kicking up too. Just not for the same reasons, but yeah. But yay! Now everyone knows. Now it's public.
Hi, Elf. Hi, chat.
Hi.
Hooray!
I stand by it. Zoe's gonna raise my kid.
Yeah, that's
Zoe's proven she can raise a child. I mean, I don't particularly think she raised the child well, but
she
she's
But
proven
she
she can do
did
it.
it.
health-wise, very good baby. Health Health-wise, environment-wise, she did great. Behavior-wise, that may have been somewhat our fault for the fact we brought her in at 2 months old and she wasn't able to interact with everybody. But that's what I tell myself. I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure Emma and the baby will get along great. because the baby will be small like Emma. But before I continue on topics that are not what we came here to do, shall we start what we came here to do?
Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah,
ready?
maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Okay. I think I might be able to work with the yeah, maybe. Okay, so to recap, you guys helped 10th in his lab figure some stuff out and pack up his things. You have made good on your promise to help carry parts of his potential siblings back to his father in Arif ahead of his return trip home so that hopefully it saves some time in being able to get any of those siblings awakened. And you are carrying in Ayejeye's bag primarily the one of her bags of holding the pieces in a couple different containers that he had asked you guys to convey, along with a couple bigger pieces that are split between Ayejiye and Ron's backpacks. So that was one promise you have fulfilled, at least insofar as you can, considering you still have to take them to where they need to go. But that's several days away. I'd have to check. That might be more than several days away. It might be like a week away, but we'll figure that out later. Um, but then you also found your goblin friends. Odgurk, the leader of these goblin refugees trying to flee the terrors and dangers of the Everdark in order to find, hopefully, a safer existence on the surface. Um, and you guys had promised to help make sure that they exit the Everdark safely, and you did just that. You had no significant incidents for the last leg of the journey until you got back up to the surface, which is where we find ourselves this evening. Is having returned to the surface under a beautifully lit starry sky, you guys had the delightful joy of getting stopped to go through customs.
Hooray!
Yay!
Mm.
Not that anything gets confiscated here, but they still, with the fledgling nature of this settlement and wider territory claimed under the name of Darbiton, uh, they want to establish a historical standard for exploring the ruins and learning what there is to be learned about what's down there and the history that has survived with whatever people bring back up, even though they don't intend to take any of those things. Uh, you may or may not get approached at some point by somebody from that institution they're trying to start to help, like, track and record the history, a little historian's office right now that isn't really functional, but I would think it would be fair to assume before leaving town you might get approached and asked if you would donate or sell any of your finds. That hasn't been explicitly stated at any point, but I think you're all smart enough to know that if that's what they're actually meaning to do here, it might cross your mind that that's an expectation to keep in the back of your head. But besides the customs guys, they weren't the only ones waiting at the top when you returned from the Everdark to the surface of the world. There were also three figures standing off to the side, watching very intently, and you were not allowed to go speak with them until you'd finished your customs process. And having been released from that after about 2 hours, since you guys brought a lot of stuff back, and they catalog every piece they can somehow in whatever fashion seems best, you were released back into the world to do your own thing, and so you could meet the buyer of the artifact you were sent to retrieve. The drow wore the distinctive cloak that you were told to look out for, and he is accompanied by two other people. One of them is a large brass dragonborn, and one of them is a half elf. All three, I know I would get this wrong if I didn't check first, even though I'm confident in it. Yes, all three of them are uh, at least masculine presenting, and they kind of shush you off to the side behind some of the ruins so you can have your discussion without the guards being right there. And there's little to no direct line of sight for most of you to where the guards are, and the guards really don't seem that concerned or interested anyway. You know that this buyer has been waiting here for a period of time while you were underground, so it's probably not all that strange to see them doing whatever they're doing now that, it's getting done. But as you were going through customs, they were able to pretty much see and hear everything you pulled out and identified for them to record. And so it became fairly obvious that they were realizing you didn't have the case you were sent to retrieve. So as you get pulled aside and put in this new location, the drow looks between the four of you, since Ron is still there with you, and he says, I cannot help but see that you have returned empty-handed. I would very much
Before
like to know why.
before responding, are any of these three? Do they have any packed colors on them?
Make a perception check.
I can find it. Ha!
Sure don't, bud.
Nope.
No, the drow is dressed in, like, they look like they're probably some somewhat higher end but still travel clothing. The robe is definitely the fanciest thing. Like that robe looks like it's very nice, probably tailor made. The dragonborn in the back is wearing cloth, like thick padded cloth armor, and no extravagant colors. The natural color of their scales and skin are all the decoration they need for a brass dragonborn's natural kind of expected variety of patterns and colors in their species palette. It's a very striking array of a bunch of different, like, subtle hues across different parts of their body. Like there are still traces of green and like teal on some of the edges around, like where your shoulder goes down into the side of your arm, where there's those depressions between the shoulder in the middle of the arm and then your bicep and tricep between, or I mean outside, and like the depressions, there's like a teal marbling that's kind of subtle, and you wouldn't be able to see it very well in the nighttime, even with dark vision, if you weren't within 10 feet of them. Uh, they they are missing one of the prominent, like, horns, or like the spikes as part of a crest that Dragonborn can have in a ton of different varieties as part of their species on the back of their head. But like this is like a major horn. The base is there, but it's been damaged to the point of breaking at some point. Uh, and it would take a moment to fully recognize. But in this part of the world, it's not very common for Dragonborn to have tails. That's it's not uncommon overall for the species, but in this part of the world, most of Dragonborn don't have tails at all. This one has a tail, but he seems to carry it like picked up and tucked against his back most of the time as you go through the ensuing interaction, which is a strange habit. No matter how much any of you have dealt with Dragonborn before, you've probably not seen it done like this. Um, but definitely something that was done deliberately for so long that it has now become just a quirk or a non-thinking trait. And the half elf is wearing studded leather armor, has a scimitar, and just looks generally impatient, but is otherwise wearing no discernible colors of an ochre hue or any national association.
Gotcha. Well, that's an awful lot for a 3.
Yeah, because that's the shit all of you see, so I go into the description for it.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Um, but yeah, ochre. Who knows?
Who knows?
Okay. I'm just sorry that was a longer interruption than I anticipated
No,
after
you're good.
his last utterance, and it was we don't have it, and he'd like to know why,
It's
or we
yes,
empty-handed it, and he'd like to know why.
yes. I cannot help but see that you have returned empty-handed, and I would very much like to know why.
I suppose that the answer depends on if you want the long version or the short version.
Well, I don't sleep. You do. I can sit here and be resting and still listen to whatever tale you decide to spin. But I must warn you, I have a good ear for fabrications, so I would prefer it be however long it need be to be accurate.
The goal is not to lie. There's just a lot that happened.
Well then, please, enlighten me.
I'm gonna lean against this wall.
Ron just takes off his backpack and sits, getting like hunkered down and
Mhm.
comfy. He doesn't, but I
Yep.
very much, and that's very much his attitude about it.
Nemo reorganizes some things in her bag.
Um, Cole has a comment he really wants to make, and I'm trying to think if he'd make it or not.
You could always roll.
I always roll
Yeah.
something like wisdom for that.
All right, let's do
That's what I do with all
what
my moody teenagers who are about to say dumb shit at an important moment.
Okay, we'll do a wisdom save.
Then I just go off of vibes. I don't actually give myself a DC. I'm just like, yeah, that
Meh.
seems high enough that she's smarter than that.
I could also see athletics for holding your own tongue.
Can that be a sleight of hand?
Maybe. Maybe.
um, ooh, that could be an insight of if that's gonna make it worse, though.
That's true. I would absolutely allow that. Like, would this comment agitate this person based on
Oh
what
yeah,
your insight roll allows? Yeah,
yep.
that's a fair use of
I
an insight check.
yep, because I'm gonna point out the devil in the details so he can calm his panties down. That it wasn't guaranteed we were gonna find it anyway, and that was a completely understood outcome. So.
Well, from what you've seen, they he seems to care about, you know, speaking efficiently,
hmm
but he seems to be in a less impatient mood for having to have waited for you guys over several days than the other two.
hmm
So such a comment like that would probably be best spoken to him than the others, but you haven't really had enough of an interaction to get a solid sense of what he would think of it.
Gotcha.
Other than he does seem to be some sort of a professional, like a
hmm
this sort of deal, this sort of interaction, the setup that you guys had with Yvelda and getting your mission and objectives outlined beforehand. He seems comfortable in this kind of place, so professionalism would probably work.
hmm Okay. I can run with that professionalism. I'll take that. just trying to think. How do we word this?
Howdy, Bogue.
Oh no, he's here.
He's here just in time.
I didn't need more degenerates around, but okay.
First of all, who's the other degenerates?
It
Don't
me.
worry about
We're all degens here.
it. All right. So, we were provided the instructions to try and find said item. Wasn't guaranteed we would or if it'd exist, but we went down and searched pretty deep in the Underdark. We ended up stumbling or finding a ancient temple, which we presume is of. Cole's gonna kind of shuffle his hands for a minute. Our understanding, an ancient death god. Unfortunately, we were not the only ones searching for this object. We did find it, we did verify it existed, but in the struggle to uh, take possession of it, we were held at bay by Goliath while a faster member of their party sprinted and left him to die. We know it is heading. What college or thing did they say they were with?
Wolf.
Yes, sorry. I
Okay.
wasn't sure if that was directed at me or at
Oh
the
yeah.
party. Uh,
And I could just tell them everything that um, they shared about where they were from and what they were doing.
yeah, sure, if you want to. Uh,
Yeah.
as far as you guys were able to learn from Nemo's snooping and from the interrogation, all they revealed about who they're representing by being there and who they were trying to acquire this artifact for was the library.
Hmm. And then we can give the rough geographical direction.
As soon as you mention that you found it and verified it, all three of your your new buddies here look more set in frustration. Even the drow who's been less so.
Hmm.
But as soon as you mention that there were other people involved that were looking for the same thing, the drow suddenly looks pleased. And he actually begins to chuckle and follows the rest of your explanation of what happened with a very genuine seeming smile on his face. And
Yeah.
sorry, go.
And I'll share all the information that Shoko shared about the temple and that uh, Varkon revealed about what he knew about the item.
Yeah, as you go through all that, he is keenly attentive, and the other two seem like they've also kind of loosened up a bit, like softened up,
Hmm.
but they still seem like they're mildly inconvenienced by still being a
Hmm.
part of this. But he is just loving your account, the drow is.
Yep.
And when you mention the library, he just interrupts you with a comment to nobody in particular, but he just can't seem to stop himself from just going, "Oh, I was wondering if they would show their face. Interesting. Yes, 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 yes. Of course, it was a temple of Jurgle, and it. Yes, yes, yes. I am. A, what did you think of your captive's description of that artifact? What was your response? Did you believe him?
Cole's gonna shake his head. I'm guessing it's a magical relic, but something like that, I severely doubt anyone would be aware of such an item that old.
Yvardsaga will pipe up. I believe he believed it, if nothing else. He had no reason to lie to us.
Cole will acknowledge that with a, yeah, she's got a point.
But she will not give her own thoughts on this matter.
Yeah.
She's letting Cole take it for now.
Mm-hmm.
Very well, very well. That is an important point to make that, unfortunately, many employees I've worked with who do an awful lot of field work do not consider the significance of a person who firmly believes what they've been told and will tell you no how matter outlandish it sounds. They will believe it even if you don't, and it's important not to overlook their belief and their dedication to that thought, even if you think it's foolhardy. It is
They were willing to kill and die for that belief. They believe it as hard as anything.
yes, yes, indeed. That has been my limited experience, having never directly dealt with anybody from this library myself, but I've heard stories, and those stories are essentially a testament to that fact. They believe very firmly that they are the true authority in many things and never leave any room to consider that them and their institution may be wrong about anything, let alone quite possibly a great many.
Yvardsaga holding her tongue so hard right now.
That is not to say, miss, that it should be written off as impossible. Merely, I admire your ability to not discard their perspective while still determining your own. Again, I have not dealt with them directly myself, ever. So these are all second-hand accounts. I deal, unfortunately, often with second-hand accounts, and those are often the best that I am able to work with. So getting to hear this all from you, it's very, very refreshing. And I must admit, it's fairly refreshing to have someone who is competent. Often these sorts of things, if we employ, contract workers to go retrieve something that we are certain every piece of research and rumor both confirm that it should be there, often they come back empty-handed, and I cannot help but wonder at ineptitude or just bad luck. But
uh,
then I remember I don't believe in bad luck, but I certainly believe in ineptitude.
Cole's gonna kind of bring his ochre handkerchief up and kind of wipe his face for a second before putting it back down. And we were striving to make sure every stone was turned. And while I'm very disappointed that things did not turn out as we had hoped.
Oh, well, that is understandable. I can't say I blame you. I also am disappointed we weren't able to recover what we now know was actually truly there to be recovered. But I would consider this knowledge that you have given me, this exposure, this sudden appearance of the library into this whole thing, that is a reward in and of itself. And I do not consider that much lesser of a positive result. I'm sure it makes no sense, no context for you not knowing me or any of the bigger picture of any of this or why we wanted what we sent you to collect. But it is a good thing to uncover, and for that you have my great thanks.
Verification of information, confirmation of reality, all knowledge is beneficial, especially in such a misunderstood situation.
Spoken like an
So I'm
archmage of the academy.
Cole's gonna smirk, if only. But there was a lot of interesting items down there, and this potentially was one of them. Cole's gonna kind of hold out his hands. When I held it, I didn't feel anything, but that doesn't mean there wasn't some magical connection within.
Hmm, fascinating. So, from what I had been led to believe, it should have been in some sort of a display, a place of prominence. Was that actually the case?
No, it was within a locked tomb, within a covered sarcophagus, within a. Uh, Cole's gonna kind of think for a second. A preservative for
That was
bodies.
nullified.
um,
Oh,
So it was a place of importance and of notable religious importance, but I
but it
would not
was
say it was on display in any
it was
way. It was
very
difficult to
clearly
reach.
hidden.
as well it should be.
Mhm.
You say You say, miss, that it had been mellified. Was there a body with it?
No, as far as I know.
Purely on its own.
The
Well,
sarcophagus was empty, aside from the item.
well, this is quite a lot of useful information.
Useful
Very
enough
good.
for a payment? At least a partial?
Ah,
Cole's,
s-
Cole's chuckles.
so you are the appraiser I heard about.
Yes.
Well. I had wondered how much discussion would take place before the matter of payment came up. And I appreciate you waiting so long. Most professionals of your line of work and my direct first-hand experience have been much more succinct and deliberate of bringing it up. So, thank you.
Hmm.
That too is quite refreshing. But yes, I suppose we may as well get to that. But you have done a great good despite a great setback. And I don't, in full blatant disclosure, I don't often care to know who had failed the retrieval I commissioned. But you have only failed in one way and succeeded in many other unexpected ones. So, might I have your names so that we may
This is really
make
good.
deals as proper peers?
This is really good because I was thinking, I was about to say, like, after we discuss payment, if they were gonna permit us to know who they are. So this is awesome.
He didn't say he was going to give you shit.
Well, yeah. What? I'll ask afterwards. Um,
Now you have the decision of giving your real name or your ochre name, if you have
I
different ones.
who's to say? um, he'll incline his head. I'm mostly known as Cole.
I was gonna let Nemo go next.
Oh.
You two are like the criminal masterminds here.
Could I know that Cole rolled to see if they were part of the ochre?
Yes.
By any chance, could Nemo check? I feel like it's been a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's
Usually,
part of the reason why she let Cole talk his mouth off.
yeah. Usually,
So she could
I try
stare
to
more
restrict
intensely.
re-rolling somebody else's failed roll, but like with this, there's been enough time and conversation gone by. You have a very similar set of experience in this sort of thing, and I trust it is, yeah, very much what Nemo would also try and find out before realizing Cole didn't.
Yeah.
So yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So with me sharing my name, she knows I didn't see it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was her cue. She's like,
Gotcha.
hold on.
Yep.
I would also like to use my inspiration
Okay.
Oh.
for that roll.
Yes,
Yeah.
advantage on your check then.
Ooh, okay. Would that be what do
Perception, unless you could sell
no
me on
percent?
something else.
No, I'll do perception. Because I don't have the brain should pick another one. Um Oh, what the fuck?
Oh my gosh.
Sure doesn't look like it, bud.
Alrighty.
Wow.
A
That is
cursed
such a
inspiration.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh,
That sucks.
it does. It stings a little, to be honest.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
Yep. Uh
And I can't help because I don't know what you guys are looking for, so I'm just here
Nope.
vibing, going off of your cues.
Yeah.
Pez,
um
whose initial PC in the world was the reason I came up with the Ochre Pact.
I was gonna say, I'm
To
not gonna
begin
say
with.
I created the Ochre Pact, but
Oh, we got OG packed over here.
Kind of a big deal.
kind of a big deal. Let's see. Well, she can't tell if they are part of the pack, so she's not gonna tell them her ochre name. Um, no, she was just introduced herself as Nemo.
and the Egier will give, her whole name, her address, her social security, and her first 2 credit cards.
The full docs, huh?
Nah, she'll just Egier Loten.
Ah.
So her full name.
If I am incorrect about this, miss, looking at Iege, please know I mean no offense. But unless I am mistaken, I do believe Loten is also a name for your particular combination of heritage, yes?
Yes, it's my identification in a way. My identity, that's the word I was looking for. As I said, English is now apparently my second language, so it's my identity.
It's her ID.
She probably would have said it in like giant first and then translated it to identity because they probably have a specific name
Probably, yeah, no,
for like the
you're
choosing of
absolutely
your
right. Yeah,
surname.
the context in particularly your primary language, which is unique to your part of the world, would have its own term for that is far more
Yeah.
than just identity.
So it's my redacted identity.
Very good. Thank you for that clarification. Well, Cole, Nemo, Ayezeye, and I'm Ron. I'm just hired help. And Ron, the manservant.
He's been a super help, by the way.
Yeah, I'll put my hand up and say, Ron was our guide through the caverns. He was vital in getting us down there and back safely, and he now knows the route should we need expeditions in the future.
Well then. Then, Ron, I assume you are a local, because I have been able to determine that these three are not. Yep, yep, I just hire out. Go down with whoever will pay, keep them alive and whatnot. Some need more help than others, and well, I'm happy to say this group is not the worst.
Yay.
I'm just flashing back to when Nemo smeared caustic honey on his face, and then he almost contracted brain-eating amoebas from washing it off.
Something
He's
like
had
that.
worse.
If Nemo could feel like Ra's gaze, she's just gonna look up like to the trees or something.
Very,
Um,
very good.
And Cole will ask, um, is there something that we'd be able to refer to you as?
Well, outside of this conversation, unless it is between the four of you, I would prefer you never refer to me or mine to anyone, for safety's sake and all. But I'll give you something else that I do not often give in these sorts of agreements, which is my name. You impress me, the lot of you. My name is Nauri Mardelia. It is coming in text form, don't worry.
Okay.
Thank you.
He was like, how do you spell that phonetically?
Nauri Mardelia. This big, brilliant, shining oaf behind me is Dadalan. He's, I suppose, well, he's the big oaf behind me, isn't he?
Oh.
Dadalan does not seem even remotely offended by this. Just like shrug.
They're dating. I can sense it.
Yeah, she's already shipping me.
Yeah.
Scribbling frantically into the diary.
Yeah, and Dadalan will chime in purely with his full name of Dadalan Yarjit. And those are the only two words you get out of that one.
Oh.
And yes.
Oh no. Okay, never mind. No. I'm just trying to write down NPCs' names for the Discord.
Thank you. And then he motions to the half elf beside him. And whereas Dadalon is the big oaf behind me, the right hand next to me, who verifies many of the things that are, when things go well, effectively recovered. This is Mayatha Wasanti. You can call him Maya. You have my permission. He'll give you a look, though. But don't mind it. My permission is the one that matters.
But like, is he gonna stab me when you're not looking?
Only if I tell him to.
Oh.
Don't worry about that very fancy curved Einborn sword on his hip.
They're dating.
He's not the one I call when someone needs stabbed.
Oh, they fucking.
It's a throuple.
I ship it.
I mean, I've already shipped the geese at my work as a throuple. Why not these people too?
You're incorrigible.
Our team is gonna have like canon wars about these people.
Yeah, we will. After they share all that, Cola incline his head. I'm very appreciative of sharing of that information, even though it is just for this conversation. Tragic, I won't remember it past this. I'll
Well,
smirk.
well,
To be fair,
I had been hoping that we'd have a little bit more exposure to each other's names.
oh, don't worry. Even if you spend counts the days they were in the cave, about a week with him, he still won't know your name.
Ah, I see.
Cole rolls his eyes.
I see.
Yeshier gives a, and that was very much like a cheeky smirk moment, not
Yeah.
like a this mofo.
This dumbass.
We're not even sure he can read if it's not smut.
And
Not
now,
in front of company.
Nauri seems legitimately entertained by this dynamic. Well, I do appreciate a good warning. Very well then, I'll take no offense if it takes you longer than, oh, we'll say, 21 days to learn my name. In that case, though, it is exceedingly rare that I do give my name. And there are two things that you must convince me of before I'm willing to give it, and you've managed to do both at once. Convince me that you are worth working with again, and would anybody like to guess?
um, Cole will scratch his chin for a second. Be more entertaining than a pile of rocks.
Oh, I was gonna guess buy a glass of the hard stuff from the whale yard. I'm trying to remember the name of the bar.
The blubbering whale.
You're
I'm
close.
like
You're
halfway
close.
there.
The whale
I thought I was
yard.
I'm
buying
sorry.
That's like a bad
buying
Kenyan.
you a glass of the hard stuff from the blubbering whale.
Well,
What was the question again? I was typing. I'm sorry.
you you have to do two things in order for him to essentially to earn the privilege of learning Nauri's name. The first one being convince him that you might be worth working with again. And now we're taking guesses on the second.
Oh, we're all pretty? Question mark. I don't know.
Well, I can't say any of you are what I would call my type,
Good
but
to know.
I suppose
He's
everybody has their
taken.
own type. No, no, no. The second thing that you must do to earn the privilege of learning my name is you have to convince me that it might be worth not,
Killings.
well, I don't like making a habit of killing people who've worked for me. And
I
you
mean,
seem like a genuinely enjoyable set of company. So let me instead attempt to rephrase it. Convince me that your inability to successfully complete the task you were sent to complete was not due to an ongoing issue of ineptitude. There are many things in this world outside any of our control. It would be unreasonable, I think we could all agree, to hold failure for the sake of a lack of results against someone who put in a very legitimate effort. That said, serial ineptitude, recurring failure, is a festering thing. It must be burned or cut off before its damage can spread. And I am the sort of person who will do exactly that. But you've
Cole's
convinced
gonna
me, so it's all okay.
yeah, Cole's gonna have like a smile, a crooked half smile when he mentions burned.
But you've given me enough confidence. I think I have a good feeling about future interactions between us. So, how would you feel about trying something else? A retrieval, perhaps, yes, but also maybe something more in line with whatever your skill sets are.
uh, Cole's gonna uh, kind of glance back to Nemo before looking back over to uh, Neri. Is
Nauri?
Naughty.
that Nauri? And say, uh, at least the two of us are in the line of work where taking jobs is fairly common.
Ah,
And secrecy is a must.
yes. So I suppose it very well may be worth saying and clarifying one thing.
Mhm.
In working with me, there are two ways to proceed, and they need not be chosen one or the other, certainly not this early. But we can continue in any future employments essentially as we are. You needn't know any more about me or why we need done the things we need done, because as I trust you to understand, the discretion is for everyone's safety and best interest. And
Cole's is gonna nod along up very understandingly.
it is entirely possible to function in that capacity, as long as it is understood that you will get no answers from me about why. That said, much like a capacity versus ineptitude, there is also potential to proceed with increased understanding. And through that, we progress with loyalty. You must prove that I can trust you, both in your methods, in your results, and everything around them that can sway them one way or the other. Habits, morals, those sorts of things. But I acknowledge that in the event that I begin to trust you as a group and as individuals, then I repay that trust by allowing you to learn more and be able to then trust me. And then you can learn and you can ask why, in so much as I am allowed to give in relation to our growing loyalties to each other. It can go either way. I am perfectly content to let you just be the people who sign the contract and get me the results. But if we do continue to do business together, which I must admit I am very interested to attempt, but I shan't force you. That is not how good business is done. That is not how the best results are achieved. So, I leave it to you. You needn't decide this moment. But if you would like further employment, if you would like to do so for the money, for the adventure, for whatever fame you can carve out that doesn't require knowing why you're doing what you're doing, I assure you, you can have plenty of all of it. And that's perfectly fine with me. But if you really want to know the things that make this world turn, if you really want to be someone who makes an impact and is able to say that you bettered the world, and it mattered not if your name was ever known or credited, we can do that too. Because that's what we do as best we can. So I'll leave you to think on it, but for now, Miss Nemo, I do
Yes.
believe you had mentioned something about some precious metals cut into small circles. So, what did you have in mind?
Trying to remember if we were told originally what the job would pay.
You were not. That's why Nemo was here.
Yep.
Nemo was sent here to broker this deal and make sure that you guys were
Oh.
paid fairly for the artifact you retrieved,
I assume this is why Cole didn't let her die.
since you
Well,
wouldn't just be returning to
my job
Yvardsaga.
was to make sure you didn't die.
But yeah.
So Cole will kind of step out of the way to allow Nemo to be the focal.
Yeah.
Um,
Pats his shoulder
if
like she always does. You
Cole
did good.
steps back, Yeshi is going to get his attention to scoot him a little further away. As in, she wants to whisper something to him.
Oh, so he'll step right there then, up against the wall.
I was gonna say, Yeshi will also move to facilitate this.
Yeah,
but...
you can, at least for now, you can move freely and more or less ignore the visual barriers on the map, because you guys could just poke your head around the corner of a ruined wall if you want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And she's mostly just wanting to pull him aside for, I think it would be worthwhile if you want to get in good with these people, possibly make more money, to describe and tell them about Shoko. I've never seen a creature like her before. And if they know the organization Shoko worked for, it's possible they know Shoko. Because you talked about Varkon, but you didn't actually mention, like, Shoko's name or what she was. So just she's sort of like, as a last chip to either make a stronger connection or make a better payday. And that's all she wanted to talk about at this time.
Gotcha.
Alright. So while they're over there,
Yes.
Whispering.
whispering, Nemo's going to whisper to Nari and like, can you can't? Basically asking him if he could speak thieves can't.
Yes.
Yes, frickin' presto, I can.
My sincerest apologies, Miss Nemo. I am aware of the method you're using. I recognize it for what it is, but I don't recognize how it's used. I know it's happening when I hear it, but I do not understand it.
Dialect. I get it.
Neither can I repeat it or produce it on
Okay.
my own.
So basically he got comprehend language and stuff.
Didn't say well.
This is basically what she can only do. She can only comprehend it but can't speak it back.
Yep. So he can't, but one of his friends might. Who's to say?
Yeah. But none of them are piping up because he's the brains of the operation. Um, Neva's going to start off the negotiation with 300 gold pieces.
300, huh?
Hmm.
Okay. Make a persuasion check.
While
Um,
Nemo's doing that, Cole's gonna uh, kind of clear out some dirt on the ground and then draw uh, his kind of best illustration of like Shoko's body structure. So just big eyes, head, arms, legs, and wings.
Okay.
And then, because he's gonna want to point at things when he's talking, explaining this.
You know, it's funny. I might have a spell for this.
Okay, well you guys are figuring
Give
that
me a
out.
second to read that
Yeah,
up.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You guys hold tight. We'll let Nemo do what she came all this way to do.
yeah.
Nemo, do your freaking job.
If you stop talking, maybe I could.
300.
Oh, nice.
Well, I do suppose that you were down there for some time. I suppose you did incur some amount of bodily harm. Certainly an element of danger, if you're the sort of person who prefers to insist on hazard pay. Ludicrous
Yes.
concept that's part of the pay, but I've heard it before. And for other unexpected results achieved,
Hmm.
I would be prepared.
Also,
Hmm. I do love a good
um,
also.
um, do you happen to have a very good tracker?
Sorry, I'm not sure if you cut out. Do you happen to have a
Oh, she
very good,
asked if he has a very good tracker.
a very good?
Either an animal or a person.
Um, I could have access to one, though it may take some time for one I would, for something like tracking. It may take some time for somebody I would really entrust such an assignment to.
Hmm.
But I am open to
Um,
suggestions if you feel like you know one.
yes. Since we were unable to bring the item back, I thought to gather a little bit of insurance policy. And she will like go to her side pouch on her thigh and pull up a couple of scraps of
Blood.
Farrakhan's cloth that are covered in his blood. I got this off of the Goliath that Cole mentioned, the companion of the roguish character that stole the item from us. They seem to be very involved. I imagine if he were to catch up to her, they would not be parting anytime soon.
Hmm.
So find him, you can find her, and probably wear the item.
Well, now. That is certainly something worth paying for. Ah,
And that's why I was called in all the way from Garrett.
Nemo, he looks up at you and seems like he has learned something about you.
Shit.
Just whether
Is that when
that's
she mentioned where she's from?
no, not necessarily. It
Uh,
it may not be anything super like oh shit compromising for your your professional life, your personal secrets, any that you do or don't have. It may just be he got an insight into your personality.
oh.
But whatever it is, he seems very like deeply contentedly pleased.
You're being
Now,
welcomed into this throuple.
now this, this, if I hadn't been sold on it before, this is why I think we could accomplish incredible things together.
She just gives like a little smile and a nod. Like, yes, yes.
Yes. Well then. Well then, let nobody ever say that I do not reward good, faithful service with good and faithful cause. And he pulls out a coin pouch that is absolutely full. And whether or not this is, I doubt it's a thing most characters would necessarily know. Nemo, I feel you would know this. Like, that pouch looks like it's just about as full as you can fill a coin pouch and still close it and get it to safely be secured onto a belt. And the limit of a pouch that size in gold coins is 300 gold pieces. And so he produces it and he just hands it over to you with a big smile.
And Emma gratefully takes it. And she gives like another little nod.
And then
I'm glad that you're leaving a happy client.
he reaches back to his belt and he pulls another coin pouch out. And he opens it up and he digs through it and he counts through and he removes quite a bit. And for the sake of keeping me pleasantly, incredibly pleasantly surprised, for the sake of a mutually beneficial future, and he'll plop down another 75 gold pieces into your hand.
Like, uh, wait,
You
is
say
that
plop it into her hand, and she's like, she has to use like both hands plus more to carry that much gold.
Yeah. Like
she's usually just put it on top?
no, like it would be difficult to balance, borderline impossible to balance all of those loose flowing gold coins with the pouch you already got. But like man, it gives an effect. He's giving you so much gold it's spilling out of your hands. And particularly Nemo, I feel like you would recognize that for what it is.
Is
It,
that
it,
a tip?
well, yes, it's a tip, but I feel like you would also be able to kind of clue into the showmanship of it, the literally making your
Oh
hands
yeah, like you can
overflow
get this
with
and
gold.
more.
Yeah, kind of the using it as a to the characters not having events described by the DM, but from your characters' perspectives, what would probably be a very subtle sort of enticement.
Hmm.
I feel like you would be able to see and appreciate that from that angle as well.
Hmm. Um, I need. She's trying to like figure out how to like carry it out. It's just like a um. by any chance, could you just put that 75 gold into my side pocket for me? My hands are full.
Infomercial style, she opened the cupboard.
Taters.
Well, yes, I suppose I could, but there's already been coin spent on an apparently invaluable wilderness guide. Mr. Wilderness Guide, would you please brave the dense grass of this very strange yellow land and fetch us our treasure that was spilled?
Oh.
And Ron just looks at Nauri with a "Are you fucking shitting me, guy?" expression on his face.
Oh. No. He's not a manservant.
Oh, of course not. That was made abundantly clear. No, he is a valuable survival asset for dangerous outdoor spaces, which I cannot help but notice. We are out of doors. I feel like this is his purview.
To be fair, he only protected us in the cave. Ayeshiei shouts over from watching Cole make a stick figure owlin.
Very well then.
Not not that I think he couldn't protect me out here too, but
Very well then. Ron the not manservant. Another 5 gold for you to come pick this all up and put it in Nemo's pocket. Well, when you put it
Nemo
like
just-
that, and he just gets up and starts digging in the gold grass for gold coins in the dark.
Oh, it's very much that type of person. Like, I'll slap you for a clock knife bar.
Yeah.
Now you're speaking my language.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll take Ron a minute to do, so other things can evolve. Cole, Ayejie, while that's going on, you get to see Ron being strangely belittled, but also compensated for it.
He's okay with it.
Yeah, you pay him enough, he'll take the emotional damage, it seems.
Yeah.
Nemo, like, Mel's like, I'm so sorry to Rod during the whole exchange.
It's like, you just walk up, you take a shit in front of someone, throw a towel at them, and say, "Clean that up," and they're like, "What? No way!" Then you drop $1 million in their hand, and say, "Clean that up." Son of a bitch, I'm cleaning this up, aren't I?
Yep, yep, precisely. Oh my
you
goodness.
dumbasses. Sorry, not you guys.
Oh, I was like,
The
damn!
the cats are being dumbasses over in their part of the house.
Ugh.
Revelry in the dark.
But, Pez, did you figure out something, or are we going by my stick figures?
Might be a little column A, a little column B. I have magical tinkering, so I can create a static visual effect, which includes up to 25 words of text. But I don't know if that means I could make a static little image, or if I can't make a whole image, putting imagery on top of Cole's stick figure.
Is that the exact wording of it? A static visual image?
A static visual effect. I can't like send it.
No, that's fine. That's all I need to know. Um,
And the only example it gives is the 25 words of text, or like including 25 words of text.
let's see.
And I guess she could also, well,
You know
would
what?
mimic.
Yes. Uh, I I know how you could do it in a way that I, the DM, would be satisfied with, but like, I could let you try and find it if you want, but I was planning to just tell you how I think it could work. If you get the projector, it doesn't say you can
Yeah.
produce an image, but you can provide a visual effect, like changing the image the projector puts out.
That's why I was thinking changing like the little image that Cole drew.
Mm-hmm.
It's so nice you're trying to include me.
You put in all that effort, and yes, you're just gonna be like, snap. Also,
That is
it
more
says
canon on what a Yejie would do.
it's true. It also says that she could emit a nonverbal sound. Could she approximate Shoko's language? Because that's on one hand it's a verbal sound, but on the other she doesn't know what it is. So it'd be like me talking fake Russian or something.
I would say that would count as a verbal sound because it is a structured language.
Okay, it's just because the Egier doesn't know it if she could make an approximation of it, knowing that it's either A, gibberish, or B, not actually language. It's like when people do the Simlish thing where they like it's like Simlish, like it sounds like a language but it's not.
I feel like the context in which you saw it, you would be able to determine it was a language because Shoko's.
I
Yes,
understand
okay,
that,
sorry.
but could the sound she emits be an
Oh,
approximation of the
okay.
language? Flabaduna, Stinafle,
Yes,
except
okay, gotcha.
Shoko language.
Yes. Yeah, I think that would be doable.
Okay. She would explain that she's doing an approximation. Like, it sounded akin to this. Simlish
Oh no.
in Owlin.
Simlish, but largely
Bird
bird reminiscent
noise.
noises.
Could we also just
Yeah.
describe what all she looks like? Like what? I feel like that will also help greatly in the description.
Yeah, that was the first half, was like, while Cole's kind of describing things on his drawing in the dirt, Ayagie was gonna like use the static image of her tinkering to like change his little drawing. I keep saying like, "Oh, it's a cute little drawing. Put it up on the fridge." But to change the drawing that Cole made as he talks about it, and then eventually get to the point of like, this is what her language vaguely sounded like.
Yes, I think working in tandem, you guys could pull that off. I mean, you spent days with them, so you're very familiar with what they look like, what she sounded like. Yeah, I think you most certainly can. So after Nemo gets paid while Ron is still combing the grass for money. Yes, sorry, Pez.
I was just letting you know I'm taking off my headset for a second so I can clean up the water the cat spilled.
Okay, thank you.
So that's why I called them dumbasses, because Emma is convinced she can fit under the dog bowl still, and she cannot, and she whaps into them full sprint like at least once a day.
And like the part she connects with is anymore when she runs into it, face level at speed. Um, but yes, so you guys are able to do that and essentially brief them on who actually robbed you. Give them a a pretty darn good visual image, plus the sound of the language really seems to impress even the grumpier two. I mean, they still look like they're not super stoked to be dealing with any of this anymore, but they don't seem like they're quite so judgmental of the fact that you came back without the thing. And to them, instead of their boss, they would consider that a failure. They seem to be opening up to what Nauri sees as you guys may not have gotten what you went for, but you brought back a lot of other stuff that is still really valuable. So here's how you make friends is you do stuff like this. Well played. Uh, During your description of Shoko, her features, the sound bite that a Yejier is able to reproduce of what the Owlin language sounds like, they all are very surprised. Particularly the Dragonborn seems really, really surprised to actually be seeing an Owlin.
Oh,
And
like he recognizes her? Like what she is?
are you asking him, or just are you trying to see based on his response.
He will ask.
I've heard of them.
Speedy little fuckers.
Rumors.
Good rumors. Good rumors, bad rumors.
Unreliable rumors.
Ah.
Like, have you heard there's a rumor in St. Petersburg?
This must be a common idiom I do not know.
No, that was out of character.
Oh, okay.
Have
An
you
Anastasia
heard there's
reference.
It was.
rumors
Oh
in
no, I got
Petersburg?
the reference.
Yeah, I am not making that in
But he
universe.
Suddenly there's a St. Petersburg and Yvard.
uh, no. Nauri, actually, as you are kind of finishing up with the visuals and with the multimedia display of this culprit, he gets like really close up to it. You are muted, Pez.
Yeah. I realized I clicked the button to unmute and it just muted me. Did we also describe Varkon a little bit? Because Varkon, I guess, besides being a Goliath, like, is visually distinct.
Yeah, we
I-
can do that as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought Cole would have during his
Yeah, 'cause I know
debriefing.
Shoko, like, you just mentioned the race and she's distinct, but Varkon, if you mention physical features, may become distinct.
Yeah, we
Just want
can
to make
do
sure it
that,
was up there.
and we're just becoming the new favorite upstart for Nauri.
Yeah, no, he is studying up close, and a few times we'll actually ask a Yejiye if she can repeat that sound.
And she will do what she can. She can cast this 4 times.
And
It doesn't tell me how long the sound goes.
and
Oh, that's lie. I can affect 4 objects at a time. I guess it goes on for a while.
fair enough. He does something not necessarily like that he's hiding it, but he's so close to this image that you've created and is so intently focused on it that I imagine he's probably facing back towards most of you, but the physical space between all of you is a little fluid right now in you know the imagination ether. So I'm sure one of you at least would notice when he does this. But he looks like he wipes sweat off of his brow, despite the fact that it is chilly. It is chilly tonight. And he doesn't look
He has
like
a
he's
thing
sweating.
for birds.
But when he pulls his hand away from his forehead, it almost looks like he plucked one of his hairs. Because like many drow, as you imagine them, you know, have long white hair, and it almost looks like he plucked one of his hairs and is just holding it gingerly in his hands while tapping a finger on it in thought. But the hair is glowing a little bit. Well, it's not glowing white. It's just like faintly luminescent, more of a silver. And that one strand is just kind of dangling in his hand for a little bit. And he thinks for a moment more. And he puts it in his pocket, and then he asks Siege to repeat the sound one more time.
Ayeji can also do 6 seconds of a recorded message, but I don't think she could imitate Shoko's actual language well enough.
Probably not, no.
Okay, so she will just, do that.
Okay.
I forgot to read all the things she could do with tinkering.
Yeah, it has a lot of room for very creative application and interpretation.
You know, she's gonna do him one better because she would have had to have cast this on something, which I'm going to assume is just like a pebble or something.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just gonna give him the pebble that's making the noise. That I'm assuming he can just activate at will. It does not have a lot of information for me here.
Okay, I'll look into that.
Yeah.
But
But either way, it will play again.
yeah. Thank you. Thank you indeed. Well, that certainly confirms it. This is truly them. The library have shown their faces. And this Goliath that you encountered, he seemed to be capable. Any strange behaviors?
I'm
He's
waiting to see
missing
if
half his
anyone.
face.
Cartography.
Well, I suppose to some people that may seem a strange behavior. But no, I mean, habits of speech, perhaps fine motor functions, anything that was a bit off. Or did he still seem fairly physiologically and mentally normal?
Apart from the
Would
scarring, he seemed perfectly normal.
would Yejier get the sense that he's asking if this Goliath had the start of mind rot?
Make a medicine check with advantage. Or
That's
no,
something
no,
she
I
is.
suppose that would be an insight because you're asking not about mind rot, but what he
Oops.
is implying.
I accidentally rolled one, so I'm rolling a second. Oh, good.
Woo!
And at 20,
Okay, you get your bonus experience.
which is
For you guys, I believe it's 150.
Yep.
that's what I was gonna say,
Hmm.
but I couldn't remember.
Because for my Imperial campaign, they leveled up, the last time they leveled up, the nat
Oh
20
God.
bonus increased. Because otherwise it'd be, if we get to like level 18, woohoo, nat 20, 150 experience is nothing.
So it scales with
So
you.
I attempt to scale it as you guys go up in level. So it's still exciting every time. But it just makes me forget sometimes which number is which in which campaign.
Same. That's why I wasn't sure because I was like, I think it's 150, but it could be 250.
Yeah.
I just saw Yoshi's health plummet for like a few seconds. I was like, oh.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Just
It's probably because I went into the management screen.
she just had a minor cardiac event when it occurred to her this man might be asking about the mind rot.
Yeah.
Hit a brain
He
blast. Emphasis on blast.
he absolutely is asking about signs of brain rot.
Yejier obviously picks up on that, and because she just calls it brain rot, right? Yeah. He did not have the Goliath brain rot. He knew of it. He didn't know much more than anyone else around about the disease.
Oh, I suppose I ought not be surprised that you are the one who would know it. And I forgive me, I mean no offense. It just hadn't occurred to me that it is probably something much more significant a danger to you than to most other people here.
Especially considering the rumors of resurgence. And she's like going to watch him closely after saying that to see if he possibly already knew that or if that sounds like news or if he's like dismissive like yeah, right, that's just a fake rumor.
Fake news.
He seems a bit confused. Resurgence in forgive me, but how do you mean? In what capacity?
It's come back. It was gone for a decade, 2 decades.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, it was gone for 2 decades, and there's rumors that there's people with new infections in the crown.
Oh, yes, I suppose I could see how that'd be concerning. I'd been starting to hear rumors of it resurging. Oh,
Is he mostly just confused by the phrase resurgence?
kinda.
Okay.
Probably 6 or 7 years ago. I'm not entirely certain. I believe I was long timing at the moment, so the exact specificity of it is a little hazy. But I first heard it had been returning possibly before you were aware, because it's less
That's
new news
likely.
to me.
How long did it take for the first instances to reach us? Not a lot of information gets out of the crown unless you're looking for it.
This is very, very unfortunately true. Well, I cannot help but assume that you have some amount of a vested interest in learning more about it.
She's not gonna hide that. She's like, yep, like sort of a nod shrug. Not gonna show how vested, but there is an interest to her, obviously.
Though I am aware enough of your people to recognize the name Lotan as a form of your, and he tries to repeat the word that Yejier used the first time instead of identity. It's not
Mm.
exactly right, but it is apparent what he was attempting to get. So I don't entirely understand or recall all of the intricacies, but thinking about it, I cannot help but assume at least some of your lineage must be Goliath, if I may presume.
She nods. I have a full Goliath brother.
Ah, yes. Well, then this is particularly personal for you then. Well,
Oh, I lied. It wasn't her brother. She has a sister.
sister. Okay.
You liar!
I know. I said that, and I was like, I actually don't remember if it was her brother or not.
Yeah, I remembered one of them, but I couldn't remember which.
Okay, yeah, it's her youngest sister.
Okay.
Sorry, I
No, you're
did
good.
fact check myself.
Well then, I happen to know a few a few people that I have immense trust in, and no small measure of a friendship, who have been attempting to research this problem. I I can promise you that if you all are willing to continue working for me and with me, I will attempt to enlist their aid and see what they would need to perhaps have some of your assignments include assisting them with their search for understanding. And that way you would still be able to help in some way with looking into this unfortunate danger to your people.
I can just imagine a Yijie going, "You son of a bitch, I'm in."
Vibrating with excitement.
Could
Yeshia's trying to keep her cool. She nods. She actually is low key wondering, like, is that someone I've actually already spoken to about this? Like, are we going to be contacting the same person? Who knows? I guess I'll find out.
I suppose I have given you some payment in the form of coin, but from my understanding and my impressions working in this brief evening with all of you, but particularly you, Miss Lowton, you strike me as somebody who is more concerned with learning what she deems important than acquiring material wealth. So my payment for you, for your assistance in this, and an expression of my hope that we can continue to work together to do some good, as I will share with you my current theory about the mind rot.
Gonna just pull my book out of my bag, open it up. She's taking this seriously.
Not breaking eye contact.
Pretty much.
This is not a thing I have had much exposure to, nor much time to look into, but from what I've heard from the people in my life who are passionate about this danger and this project, unsubstantiated now, mind you, not even tested or shared as a proper scientific theory, I suspect that it may not be a natural condition. I suspect that this may be a weapon of some kind, because all I have ever heard of it, the only explanation I have been able to find for why my peers and friends who look into this have been faced with some of the confounding ends after deader and deader ends about how this fails to behave like so many other sicknesses. The one I keep coming back to is, why does it not spread the way many other diseases do? It always seems to hit condensed populations, yes, like a disease, but it never, to my knowledge, seems to expand on its own. Never in one or two isolated incidents where contact is possible. It always seems to start and pop up somewhere fresh, hitting an entire community at once. And that to me sounds like targeting, not exposure. But that is all I can offer you now.
Yeah, doesn't say anything, gives a nod. She obviously took all of it seriously. Whether she agrees or not cannot be discerned.
Now, I cannot figure why
You
somebody
go
would
fast.
be targeting the nomadic people of the Crown who do not interact much with the lower world. But
Why would an entire war target a small northern valley?
quite. Questions that always have answers, yet we may never know them. But these sorts of questions are, I think, for another meeting. So, what, my new friends, had you been planning to do upon your return to the starlit sky? Surely you had imagined what food you would want to eat first, or what grass you would want to lay in.
A warm meal with a backed chair, and then a solid night's sleep in a bed. And a bath.
Well, yes, I would certainly recommend one of those things. Well, a hot meal, of course. What did you think I meant? He smirks,
um,
knowing damn well what it sounded like he was going to say.
I just imagined you saw how tired my eyes were.
I don't read sleep problematic symptoms very well. I'm immune to them, you see, so I find it hard to relate. My fatigue
he
hits
was gonna look up to the
differently.
sky. Is it a new moon? Player asking DM.
I'm trying to think. No. It is shortly It is within a week of a new moon, but you aren't quite to the new moon yet.
Hmm. She makes a note. She'll let the others answer that question first.
I want to make sure that our goblin companions settled in all right.
Oh, yes. I apologize. I'd forgotten that they'd come up with you. I'm sure you must have plenty to do with them. So, please feel free to get about your night. Were you planning to stay in town for a while, or were you intending to go elsewhere? Where should I call on you when I have my next opportunity? I need to verify a few things before I point you in a direction.
I was going to stay here at least a couple of days.
Likewise, I believe we're all at the blubbering whale.
Very well. Well then, I suppose I will reach out to you here, and if you must leave for some reason, please leave word with, uh, well, the turtle, I suppose. Just give him a forwarding city at least. I should be able to find enough of a direction from there.
Can do.
Oh, and on your way back to your rooms, please do give my regards to Miss Yvelda.
Hmm.
Tell her she chose impossibly well. And with that, I bid you good night. And they just start walking away, not towards town. They just start walking towards the southeast, and you guys have to go north to get to town.
Nemo has a thought, but she's gonna keep it to herself for now.
You know that scene in the Dungeons and Dragons movie?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
there he goes.
Is he gonna? Oh no, just went right
Oh
over
no,
it.
he went
Yep.
right over it. Yeah. God,
That's what he was like waiting for.
not not that dead set on the course. Um, I guess before they get too far away, the half elf will turn and look back at all of you and just give a small nod. He's not easy to impress. Well done. And then they
Cole's
follow.
gonna give a Cole will give a deep nod of appreciation.
Uh, Nemo also gives a nod because she can't do much else with this bag of gold in her hands.
I think by now
When
Ron would
gold
have
weighs
been
as
able
much
to
as
get your
her.
gold into your pocket.
Thank you.
All the loose stuff, yeah. No, by now you'd have at least one hand free. The other, I assume, just holding the pouch unless you put it on your belt.
Okay, cool. So it's much more manageable to carry.
Yes.
Awesome.
When he's done and they're walking away, Ron stands up and like dusts his breeches off, which you would have seen him do this a time or two down below, but it's a lot easier to see with the overhead with the natural lighting, even though it's dark out. Where in order to like dust himself off, all he does is like gently tap the side of his knees, and all the dust on his legs just goes whoosh out from him and just flies off in all directions. Like it's such small particles, even if you were right there, it's not like it would do damage, but it seems to have an unnaturally explosive force when he does it. And it's just like a whoosh, and then he's just no dust, no mud.
No mess, no fuss.
Nope, none whatsoever. But as he does so, he stands up and watches him go, and he goes, "Man, for how much that fellow loved to talk, he must really not like doing goodbyes."
Yeah.
Also, weren't y'all gonna go up to Arif?
Yeah.
All right,
And then
well,
Neva's gonna bolt for the bar.
It's on the to-do list.
well, I'll tell Damu if they come calling anyway here. I'll tell them you went to Arif.
I
Nemo
think we
gone.
can lay low a couple days.
Yeah, not a bad call. That's certainly what I intend to do. Hell, I might even lay so low I miss the bed.
It's your first time seeing one in a while. I'd recommend to try aiming well.
I might have used all my good aim up down there. I gotta recharge it. Which, I did mean it. Y'all were certainly not the worst group of folks I've had to work with doing this.
Also, when he says he'll need to recharge it, Yaji's just go, I heard Dormu has a model, I think, at the bar.
Sorry, you, at least for me, lagged out a bit. So I didn't hear what you said.
That Dormu has some recharge back in a bottle at the bar.
Oh, yes, that's the only recharge I can accept.
Yaji is also happy to go back to the inn and go through all the things she found.
Okay. Yeah. It's an uneventful walk back to the inn. Uh, that seems to be pretty much where everybody goes at night. Because this is the first time some of you arrived into town after dark, but this is the first time, like, at this time of night, not that you have a great sense of when exactly it is, that you would have been in town and getting to the inn, but it must be earlier than when some of you arrived because the inn's a fairly hoppin' place. I mean, there's not very many people that live here yet, but like most of the ones that you would recognize seem like they're in there. So it's decently crowded. But as you step into the inn, uh, Damu gives you guys a smile from behind the bar and waves. And as he waves, he's like a big overhand wave so you can see him above the crowd. As he waves in, whichever of you sees him first, he actually points over to the back part of the room. And looking over there, when the crowd's part enough and you move through and sufficiently, you see Yvelda and her ward
Hell yeah.
at the same table you met them in. She doesn't look like she's doing super great.
Oh. Well, that's why Nemo was the first to run for it, basically.
Fair enough. I forgot to put her and her warg's token on the map, but they are back at that same table. Oh wait, oh I might still have them here.
Also, can you refresh stream?
Oh crap, yes, thank you. Just thinking. Um, yeah, she doesn't look like she's doing super great, but only in the sense that she looks like she's just just the tiniest bit of like overheating maybe, like maybe from all the people in the room, but nobody else really seems to be like they're starting to get a sheen across their forehead
Oh.
from starting to sweat it all, but Ivelda is, and her skin is visibly paler than it was the last time you saw her. I mean, still a very a very like rich, deep green, but it's got a lot more gray to it than it used to.
Uh,
And her eyes look very tired.
uh, I just like Nemo will keep running until she made it to the table and just like, hail Evelda, Orc Strider. Are you okay?
Well, did you have your meeting?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Awesome. A surprise for you.
Well, if you recall, the reason I couldn't go with you was because I'm recovering from an injury. And I continue to be in recovery. And today's just one of the harder days. But
Oh.
it's okay. I've been assured it'll be fine. I just have to dump something into this already mediocre swill once a day and drink it, and I'll be right as the Empires, which is
Kind of dark.
not a very common idiom, but it is
Yeah.
one most of you would have probably heard before, and it is intended to be ironic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's kind of dark, kind of funny.
yeah.
You will give a chuckle to that one. Um, well, uh, I got you your money back.
What money?
The 150 that you paid us before we left.
That wasn't my money. That was your money.
Yeah, but you hired a specialist, so I wouldn't be good at my job if I didn't try to.
Huh.
Cole will pass on um, the contact. Um, wish to congratulate you for finding competent, uh, a competent crew to carry out this task.
So you found
He
it.
was he was very pleasantly surprised.
Well, good. I can take very little credit. I didn't find you. I just found the people who found you. Much like I was hired to hire a team to do this. So that wasn't my money. That was somebody else's given to me to pay you.
I thought
I've
you
been
might say
paid.
that. I thought you might say that. So, the other intention of doing this was to give the party member a chance to basically bargain back the 150.
Huh. You do business very strangely. And you've survived in Garrett?
Yeah.
Huh.
And Nemo's just very nonchalant, like, what do you think? What do you
Well,
mean?
It's just good business.
well, I do suppose that it is. Well, I appreciate you for earning me back money that wasn't mine or money lost. But I would happily put some of it to buying all of you a meal and a drink in exchange for telling me what you encountered and what you learned. Certainly telling me what it was that impressed Nauri so well.
And Nemo's going to give Cole like a whip with her tail. Like, this is your opportunity, dude. I set her up. You go for it.
I allied. You
Cole's
gotta oop.
Cole is sitting down and will indeed regale her with the entire tale.
Okay. Fair enough. I suppose we'll pick up then next time after you have recounted this whole story to her to continue any discussion you guys might have with her and answer any questions she might have for you before you guys go to bed. But that'll be where we pick up next time. So congratulations, you got paid. And you paid
Yeah.
attention. You paid attention to what you guys saw and learned, and you were able to convince a very hard to convince man that you were worth
Yay.
giving another job to. So well done. Well,
Ooh,
well done.
go team.
Yeah, great frickin' job. That said, be thinking about what you might want to be doing in town while you wait, whether that's helping the goblins with anything, helping earn a couple extra coins somewhere by hiring out manual labor or professional skills to anybody who might need it locally. Um, any of that sort of stuff, conversing with anybody you've met, general other sorts of shenanigans for what I would consider to be downtime by the sound of it for a couple days. So figure out how you'd like to spend it. You've got the time. So because we won't be meeting or playing next week because I will be out of town starting Wednesday afternoon and then not getting back until the following Monday on Memorial Day. So we don't really have any of our makeup session times available either. So it'll just be 2 weeks, 2 Wednesdays from now. We'll pick back up here in the Blubbering Whale while Cole attempts to, I don't know, tell a good story to his celebrity crush, I guess.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna hunt down some goblins.
I suppose, in a way, yes. Not the way most people would be expecting if they just tuned in, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, that said, thanks for playing tonight, guys. Congratulations on an unexpected form of success to your first quest in Evard.
Jesse
Hell
hands.
yeah.
Good
Yay.
work. I'm excited to pick it back up then. Otherwise, everybody have a good night. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
I do have
Bye.
one completely unrelated thing that I want to also share with chat.
Yes.
The kitten Emma has the energy and body shape of a jaguarundi. Look it up.
Oh, yes, she does.
Uh-huh.
Jaguar UNDI, all one word. It's like a weasel met a cat, and she like has all the vibes of the Google images. That's all. I love you. Bye bye.
All right. Good night, friends. Thanks for playing.
Good night.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Okay, chat. We did it. Well, I guess they did it. You guys did it too. You certainly helped keep them on their toes, which I appreciate if I can remember how to work OBS. Yeah, that's pretty much it for tonight. Our announcements have been had, but if you missed it at the beginning of stream, then just so you guys can hopefully still hear it live, uh, officially announced that starting tomorrow, Pez is in the third trimester of pregnancy with our first baby. So we're real excited. That's all out in the air in public now. So yeah, yeah, we're excited. Um, and I'm very interested to see what the next phase of this campaign looks like. Because they've got some wiggle room to figure out what they want to do next. And I'm sure y'all are very curious, much as I am. So stay tuned. There will be more to follow. We'll see you in 2 weeks.